Hello all. In today's video, let's have hands-on coding experience on the neural networks. Okay. Before we start working on the neural networks, first of all, let's understand why exactly are we using the neural networks. Either we use the neural networks or its algorithm. Okay. What they do is they understand the pattern. Okay. Once again, let me explain you. Either we use the neural network or else the algorithm. They understand the pattern of the input data which we provide. Okay. As per to that, they are going to predict the output. Okay. Once again, either it is a neural network or else an algorithm. Okay, they're gonna understand the pattern of the input data which we provide, and as per to that they are going to predict the output. Okay, but coming to the neural networks, they can understand the patterns of more complex and non-linear data. Okay, now let's get a brief idea about the neural networks. Okay, I have already created one separate video for this. In case if you want to have in-depth knowledge on this neural network, you can go and watch that video. Okay. Now let me give you a brief. Okay. This is the input layer. These are the output hidden layers. This is the output layer. Okay. Now inside this neuron, you can see like this. Like you're gonna have the weights, inputs, bias, activation function. As earlier I have said you one thing, like neural networks nothing but they understands the pattern. Okay, they receive the inputs from here, and over in this area what they do is during the training process they understand the pattern of the input data. Okay, then later they're going to have one output. Okay, then loss is going to get calculated, and after finding the error we're gonna do the back propagation, and once again we're gonna update the weights. Once again this whole process will continue till we're gonna get the minimum error. Okay, now let's start the coding. First of all, let's see the data set. I have taken the data set which is related to the heart failure. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, this is how the data set looks like. These all are the features, input features, and our output is this death event. Okay, now let's add our features data. Now in our features what we're going to do is, other than this death event, we are going to consider all rest of the features. Okay, as this death event is as our output. Okay, now over here what I did, I have considered all the features except this death event. Now in the y I have considered only this death event column. Now let's see the data. Okay, over here we don't have the last column, tail in the sense we are going to have, we can see the last two records. Okay, in this we are going to have only one column. Okay, now if you see our data set, like one number is in the range of 75, one number is in the range of 500, one more is 7,000, one more is even more, one more is two less like 1.910. Okay, so these are not in the same range. What we have to do, we have to normalize our features, by that all these numbers will be in the same range. So for that let's use the standard scaler. I have already imported the standard scaler. Let me copy this. Let me paste over here. Now our input features are normalized. Now let's implement the train test split. We are going to split the data into training and as well as testing sets. Okay, let me take this auto suggestion. Let me take this input features. Okay, now as an output I have taken the y. Let me copy this just to ensure that capital as well. Okay, now the test size which I have taken is 20%. And coming to the random state, you can give any number over here just to prevent the shuffling of this data. Okay, now let me run this. Okay, now let's start our neural network. Let's build this neural network. Okay, first of all, for that let me copy that sequential. Now inside this we're gonna add the layers. Okay, now let me add the first layer, then I will explain you. I'm taking 64 neurons in the input dimension. I'm taking 12. I will explain you all this. Okay, right now what we are doing, we are adding these layers, we are adding these hidden layers. Okay, now for this hidden layers, ReLU activation function is more good, so that's why I have added this activation function. Now I have added input time is equal to 12. 12 is nothing but over here, if you count all the features other than this death event, death event, if you count all these feature number like 1 2 3 4 5 6, in this way if you count, you're gonna get the total 12. So that 12 I have added over here. Okay, coming to the 64, 64 in the sense nothing but I have taken 64 neurons like 1 2 3 4 5. In this way I'm going to have total 64 neurons. Right now we have created the first layer. That first hidden layer is this. Okay, this is what which we have created. Now let's add one more, that is the dropout. I will explain you what is this. Now an add-on point, like over here I have given 64, you can give whatever the number you want. Okay, there is no fixed number. Okay, now I have added dropout. Let me explain you why I have added this. Now at times during the training process, what happens is it will focus only on certain neurons, like it will focus on this neuron, this neuron, this neuron and this neuron. Okay, now it will learn from these neurons, but coming to the rest of the neurons will be ignored. So because of this, learning will not be done effectively. Learning will be effective only when it learns from all the neurons. So that's why what we are doing is we are dropping 30% of the neurons randomly. By that, if we drop randomly 30% of the neurons, it will focus on all the neurons equally. By that, the learning will be more effective. Okay, now let's add the second hidden layer, that means this layer we are adding now. Okay, now let me copy this code, let me paste this. Now I am taking 32. Okay, now as however we have given at first, right, so no need of to give from the second time onwards. So let me remove this, as this is as well the hidden layer, that's why I have given activation function as a ReLU. So right now what we did, we have added a second hidden layer which has 32 neurons. Okay, okay, now let me add our output layer. Okay, now what I have added, I have added our output layer, that means this layer I have added. Now what I have did, as our output is 1, like our we have to recognize as per to the data set whether it is a 1 or a 0, that means the person is will die or else he won't die. Okay, in this way we are going to have only one output, either it is a 1 or a 0. So for that, either if it is a 1 or 0, that's why we are using the activation function as the sigmoid. Okay, Now for example, if you do have more classes, like you have to identify nearly 5 classes, like assume like rose, jasmine, sunflower. Okay, in this way you will have some 5 classes. So at that time what you have to do, in the output layer you have to add like 5, and the activation function will be softmax. Okay, but our right now our output is 1, that's why I have added the sigmoid. Let me run this cell. Okay, now let's compile our model. Let me add the code and then I will explain you. I'm taking optimizer as like the Adam. Okay, now if it is related to the classification related problem, then you can use matrix as the accuracy. Okay, now I have used loss as binary cross entropy, because our output is either we have to identify 1 or 0. That's why it's a binary related. Now as I have said earlier, what happens after identifying the error, we are going to do the back propagation and we are going to update the weights, right? So the updating the weights is done by this Adam optimizer. Okay, now let me run this cell. Okay, just an add-on point. For example, if your problem is different, like for example if you do have a regression problem, okay, at that time you have to use a loss function which is related to the mean squared error, mean absolute error. Or else if your problem is related to the multi-class, like for example you have to identify multiple classes, like either it is a rose, jasmine, sunflower, or else some other flowers. Okay, you do have multi classes. At that time you can use categorical cross entropy or else sparse categorical cross entropy. Okay, now let's start our training. So during the training we have to provide we have to take the X train data, Y train data, and the epochs. Epochs in the sense how many times you want to train. For example, I have provided 50, that means it will get trained 50 times. You can provide any number, even there is no fixed rule for it. Okay, now coming to the batch size, I will explain you what is this. Okay, now right now I have taken X train and Y train data. In this, for validation purpose I am providing 20% of the data set. Okay, now coming to the batch size in the sense that over here I have given 32. You can give any number as per to your requirement. Okay, 32 in the sense nothing but 32 records. Okay, now after getting trained of this 32 records, weight will get updated, then it goes to the second batch. Okay, in that way it is going to prefer 32 in the sense nothing but 32 records. Okay, now let's start the training. Okay, spelling is wrong. Okay, now let me run this. Okay, training has been started. Training has been completed. Now the accuracy, if you see, we got some 91, bit better. Okay, now let's do the prediction. For that, let me add this. Let me take this auto suggestion. Okay, now I'm going to add like 0.5. Okay, if the data is more than 0.5, then it will be considered as like a 1, or else if it is less than 0.5, it will be considered as like a 0. Okay, now let's start doing the prediction. Now let's see what's exactly present in the vibrate. We are going to have only zeros and ones. Okay, okay, now let's see the last few numbers. Okay, we do have 101. Let's as well see in our y test. Okay, let's see this. Now even over here in the last we have 101. That means our prediction is well. Okay, okay, this is the end for this video. I hope you have learned lot many things. In case if you have learned even a small thing, I wish you to I really want you to like and subscribe my channel, because this is not the first time I'm making this video. This is the, it might be the fifth or sixth time. I felt like rest of the videos which I have created, those are not really so well, where I haven't explained so clearly. That's why I have created this for the sixth time, to explain you the things very clearly and as well as in a very simple manner. In case if you have learned anything, then I want you to like my video and as well as subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching this video.